So Zoom does say that we are on, and let me see how we are doing on the internet. So we are good. Yes, today is a good day for us. So we'll get started after this brief prayers to the special master. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Premanande Hare Hare Bol. Dandavat pranams to devotees here on the Zoom as well as those who are watching us on Facebook and YouTube. Quick question to you. I'm giving this class from the temple and there is the Vanar Sena outside. Do you hear a lot of background sounds? And I can tell them to get a little bit low. Okay, so just give me a second here. Let me go and take care of that.
Mataji, where are we at nowadays? I've been away so long.
Oh yeah, we are on the 5th chapter and today we'll do the 19th verse.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, 5.19.
Okay, I'm back. Hopefully it's quieter now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's summers and kids just don't know what to do. So, okay, so then we get started and yeah, we are on 519 as Sukumaladi Mataji was mentioning. So I'm going to bring that up and we will get started momentarily on that. Okay, and Vidyavadhu Mataji there with us on Facebook and she can hear me as well. Okay, so that is very good. So 519 and coming up 519 for you. Let me know when you're able to see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for confirming that. So before we go to 519, actually, I think maybe we should have a quick look and do a little bit of a recap of what we have been talking, just a few verses back, not all the way back to 5.1. I think we'll have to live with the kids today. They can't contain themselves. So, all right, so I'll go back a few. We are in 19, right? So let's see. Yeah, we'll go back to our 14, which was our favorite verse, where we talked about this city as this body as a city of 9 gates, right? And so there we were saying that the embodied spirit, which is master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature, right? So basically we are moving towards and emphasizing the fact that we are the soul and we are not the body. So that's the emphasis here. And I'm just trying to get rid of some of the consoles that have come on top of this. Okay, so that was the verse number 14. And then we also said that the body does certain things, and because of the actions of the body, there'll be reactions to that. And 15 is saying that, the Supreme Lord does not assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. Just a second. It's impossible. Okay. So sorry, this might go on for a little while today. I guess Friday is a safe day to have the class from the quiet of my home. Okay, so then 17, we were saying that the Supreme Lord does not assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of ignorance. And they just keep on saying, like, why is Krishna doing this to me? Why is Krishna doing this to me when we get into trouble, right? But as long as we are not in trouble, we are in good hands, and not in good hands, but we are in good luck, and things are going nice for us, then it's always like, oh yeah, I am the doer. I'm doing it. I'm so smart. I'm so wise. And because of that, all these nice things are happening to me. But the moment something goes wrong, it's like, why is Krishna doing this to me? Right? So we switch gears very quickly. But so here Prabhupada is saying, here Krishna is saying that when, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime, right? So in the night, you cannot see. If you enter a dark room, you won't see anything. But as soon as the sun comes in, you say, oh, there's a chair here, there's a computer, there's a bed, there's a mirror. Like that, you can see all the things there. Similarly, we also start to see the reality once we get the torchlight with the torchlight of knowledge. And then in 17, it says that when one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme. What was this verse? Does anybody remember this verse? When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge, and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. Sounds familiar, this particular verse? Anybody?
It's familiar, but I don't remember it.
Okay. Okay, now do you recall what this is?
Yeah. Buddhyas, intelligence.
Yes, it was tad buddhyas tad atmanas tad nishthas tad parayanaha gacchantya punar avrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. So what they were saying was that when all these things are fixed on the Supreme, then one becomes cleansed of misgivings or doubts, because he has got the knowledge. So all doubts get cleared by the knowledge, and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. Yeah. So we need to fix our things on the Lord, right? So that was 17. And in the 18, we talked about that the humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, outcast. Right? So this was another famous verse that we all know. Anybody remember? What's the text for this? You see with equal vision a learned and gentle brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, an outcast. Does this ring any bell? We did that last week.
Vidyas.
Vidya, yes, that's correct. It starts with Vidya.
Vidyas.
Vidya Vinaya
Sampanne. Yeah.
Brahmane Gavi. Okay, I'll bring this up. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shrapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Right? So we should keep on repeating, keep on going and visiting these verses so that they stay closer to our memory here. Okay, so what is 5.7? What is verse 5? 5.7, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, the yoga yukta vishuddhatma vijitatma
Jitendra.
jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma kurvan apina lipyate.
Very good for 50,000 points. Yeah, that clearly you have been. Yeah, this is one verse that we had spent a lot of time, right? Almost half an hour in a class going through it together, and then we had memorized that verse, right? But if you do not go back and visit these verses again, then they will go. So they are easy come and they are easy go also. So they'll go away also. So that's why we keep on reading the same scripture over and over and again, so that those points get emphasized and they get etched in our memory as they speak, right? And then we will go to today's verse, which is verse number 19. That's also a very famous and a very powerful verse, right? So in the previous verses, we had talked about that things, the soul doesn't do anything. It's all, whatever is happening is being done under the modes of material nature. God is not responsible for anything that is being done under the modes of material nature, in the sense that, you can't blame him for our actions like that. And then we also said that once you get the knowledge, then all these doubts are going to be cleared. And a person who has invested his buddhyas, tat atmanas, his mind, right, that nishtha, and then his faith, and he's surrendered into the soul, then that person, he does not come back to this world, which another word for not coming back to this material world is liberated. Right? Liberated. So you're talking about not coming back to the material world, right? So you basically, like after you die, then you are not coming back to the material world. Okay. So, Gachanti is talking about going somewhere. So this is soul leaves this body and is going somewhere, goes somewhere. But now soul can go to two kinds of places. The soul can go to another material planet, which basically means that, you come back to the material world, or the soul can go to a spiritual planet from where Yat Gatvan Anivartante Tadhama Paramam Mama. Right? Krishna explains that in 15th chapter, that it doesn't, once you go there to my abode, then you don't come back, right? Now, this verse is very interesting, and it brings in even much more hope, right? Because the previous two verses are saying that, if I invest my mind, my intelligence, my faith in the Lord, then I'll be liberated. I won't have to, after I die, I won't have to come back, right? Let's see what this verse is saying here. Ihaiva tair jitaḥ sargo yeṣāṁ sāmye sthitam manaḥ nirdoṣaṁ hi samam brahma tasmād brahmaṇi te sthitaḥ. Iha means in this life. Eva, certainly. Tair, by them. Jitaḥ, conquered. Sargaḥ, birth and death. Yeṣāṁ, whose. Sāmye, in equanimity. Sthitam, situated. Manaḥ, mind. Nirdoṣaṁ, flawless. He, certainly. Samam, in equanimity. Brahma, like the Supreme. Tasmāt, therefore. Brahmaṇi, in the Supreme. They, sthitaḥ, are situated. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. I'm going to repeat that. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Equanimity of mind, as mentioned above, is a sign of self-realization. Those who actually attained to such a state should be considered to have conquered material conditions, specifically birth and death. As long as one identifies with this body, he is considered a conditioned soul, but as soon as he is elevated to the stage of equanimity through realization of self, he is liberated from conditional life. In other words, he is no longer subject to take birth in the material world, but can enter into the spiritual sky after his death. The law is flawless because he is without attraction or hatred. Similarly, when a living entity is without attraction or hatred, he also becomes flawless and eligible to enter into the spiritual sky. Such persons are to be considered already liberated, and their symptoms are described below. Okay? So what are the symptoms of a liberated person will be described in the next verse, which we'll pick up Krishnamurti in the next week on Friday. So here they are talking about certain concepts, and one of the things that Prabhupada is translating here is that those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity. Okay, so let's dwell a little bit on these two words, sameness and equanimity, right? What does same mean? And also Prabhupada is using the word sameness. There's also the word oneness. And how is sameness different from oneness, right? So when we talk about the word same, okay, and how Prabhupada is explaining that, is that for us to say same, there have to be two things, right? For example, oh, I'm lucky. This glass is the same as this glass, right? So there are two over there, they are same. Okay, so sameness. Now, in which verse did we talk about sameness? Seeing the sameness.
Color, size.
The Shama Darshana verse.
Which one?
The Shama Darshana.
Yes, Pandita Samadarshana, exactly right. Yes, so 500 points, right? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kalisa Chuni Chaiva Shopakitya Pandita Samadarshana. Right? So what is the sameness he's seeing? That although the external body is different, right? External body can be the body of a dog, of a cow. That I'm using the examples from that verse, right? It could be from a dog eater. It could be the body of a Brahman. He's seeing the sameness there. And why is he seeing the sameness there? Because he sees the same spirit soul in all of them and also the super soul in all of them. So that's the kind of sameness we're talking about. And you see, sameness is not meaning one. They're all different, but they are similar, right? So we talk about that. Now, oneness is something. Oneness is a word which is very, very popular. It's very, very popular among the spiritualists. And I'm not talking about the Vaishnavas, but in general, right? There are all kinds of transcendentalists who are aiming for something, right? So they're all spiritualists, and the word oneness is very commonly used. Have you heard the word, I am one with the nature, right?
Yeah.
I'm one with the country, like that, right? And then the Mayavadis say, I am one with the Lord. I am the same. So oneness means one, right? Although the word same is used to explain it, but oneness means one, same thing, right? For example, if I'm saying that, if I use the word apple, and then if I use the word save, what is apple called in Tamil, Mataji?
Apple only.
Apple?
No,
Apple.
Oh.
Right? So if the Tamilian says apple, and so it's one same
Same,
thing.
yeah.
One, right?
That's
Yeah, so
it.
there's one, right? But the same is you have two apples, right? And both have to be red. And green apple, red apple are different, right? Like that.
Oneness.
So he's talking about the sameness. So Prabhupada is talking in this verse, he's talking about sameness. Those are minds are established in sameness and equanimity. Equanimity. What is equanimity?
So for inside and outside, shape or anything, everything is like looks alike.
Equanimity.
Somewhat similar to saying equipoised.
Correct. Correct. And what would happen for your poise to be disturbed?
If we see a
Poise
difference,
means having the same poise all the time, right? So what happens for the poise to be disturbed?
When
What is the
something
reason?
we regard something is different from us and contradiction to us.
Contradictory to our desire,
Desire.
right? To our desire, right? And our desires, from where do the desires come? Which organ on our body produces desires? And thoughts related to desire?
Mind.
Mind, right. The mind. The very interesting thing about the mind, of course, Arjuna has said, tasyaham nigraham manne vayur ivacha sthitaṁ chanchalam hi manaḥ Krishna. This mind is chanchal. It's here, there, cannot control. Trying to control it is as difficult as that, right? So mind, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu has come up with a very nice acronym. I'm going to use that here in the class. So the word M, the letter M in the mind, he says, relates to magnifies problems. The mind magnifies problems. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. For example, if you're driving a car and we go and bash it against the next one, what are the thoughts that the mind will produce?
Oh gosh.
Car is close to you.
What an expense.
Right. I remember almost 20 years ago, when I used to work at Oracle, we had a big release that was being planned, and my manager and we had spent the whole night. I was in her house the whole night till her husband came and scolded both of us for working the whole night. But we were so excited about the presentation we wanted to give. The old release of the project had some flaws, and we were, setting it right. We had the designs and all that. And then I drove back home. I used to work an exit away. She didn't even have to take an exit. She was right there living on the Oracle campus. And then I just came back home to take a shower and then go back again because we were presenting it to the VP. And she was going to present it. I was a small fly. I didn't present to VPs at that time. Then as I'm getting ready, I get a message from her that, her child, both her daughters, I think, or one daughter was sick. And she said, I won't be able to come. And then you be there. And I was like completely nervous. And I had just joined that group also. I was relatively new to the group. And so this was going to be my first. So I was not going to present, but still, being there. So as I was driving the car and so they had multi-story parking lot. So I parked my car there and tried to park my car there. And in my car went and touched another person's car who were parked it there. And then I was like, oh my God, what should I do? And then I said, okay, let me leave something for that person. I didn't have anything. I didn't even have a piece of paper on me because I had my laptop, right? How do you leave your laptop? How do you leave a message? I had no idea which person's car was that and things like that. So now, number one, my manager is not there and I have to be at this big meeting. Number two, I'm already late. I have, my car has touched the other person's car. And I don't know, there are, cameras in the garage. And so, and it's a wrong thing to do to anybody, and especially to your colleague at work, right? So I had to then rush up there and then get a piece of paper, come down again, write thing, give my number, and put it on the person's dashboard. On where the windshield wipers goes, I just stuck it there. So that there's no way that when you come inside your car and you sit in your car, you will see it, right? There's no way that you will see it. And then guess what? The whole day, it was like, oh, what's going to happen? Is he going to settle it outside? Or is he going to go to the insurance company? What's going to happen to my insurance? It's going to be big. Is it going to show on my driving record? Is it going to affect my citizenship?
Mind is chanchal.
It was a whole big thing. And, my mind was neither here nor there. And so anyway, then when I came back in the evening to, go back home, so I go there, that car had left and my notes was lying on the ground.
God.
So the mind magnifies problems.
Yeah,
It was not even there, right? And that comes from, this magnification also comes from lack of faith in Krishna. This is way back, the story. Right? So
Just now I had that same thing from Mataji. I was just trying to sign in. So just like that, I did Facebook. I saw Guru Maharaj's class in UK. Few minutes I watched that, and Dandavad Pranams, I wrote it. And then I came back. Suddenly I forgot your number. And I got only 650245. That's all. Last 4 numbers, I don't know. I was struggling where to look for that, who to call. I just don't know what to do. My mind was going to Varshana Mataji. I said Varshana, and I don't know her last name, I forgot. And then I said Sutapa, I don't know her last name. I thought of calling, no, you will be in the class. I know it's already 6:11. So what to do? I just struggling like anything. How to attend the class? Yesterday I told you, we have the class on Saturday. Very bravely I told you, But then when I was looking, I found the number. Last 4 digits, 4 numbers only. All the numbers I remember. Then I got you. I got into the class now. So my mind went to Varshana Mataji and then Sutapaji, Mataji, Sukola Mataji. Everybody's last names I don't remember. I don't know. I don't use all that,
Yeah,
So-
thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So mind magnifies the problem, right? Mind will magnify the problem.
Yeah.
Second
I
thing,
cannot go into, I'm not going to attend the
second
class.
second thing is that the mind imagines pleasure. Isn't that a very strong statement? That the mind imagines pleasure? Don't we have pleasure? What is there to imagine about a mango? It is a pleasurable thing. It gives me pleasure. Why are you telling me I'm imagining it? It's not imagining. Prabhupada says this material world is also real. So a mango is a mango, and a cucumber is a cucumber, and bitter gourd is a bitter gourd. What am I imagining here?
Could it be
The
that we're
taste.
imagining all the time of different things like that we desire? So we are imagining that, okay, I have this, now I want this. Could it be that?
No. That is true. But here, when they're saying the mind imagines pleasure, they are talking about they are imagining pleasure which does not exist. And so here, you might remember the famous, I'm sure Vidyavadu will know that because she did talk to me, and so would some of you. The famous Pavlov's experiments where they used to give food to a dog and ring a bell, and the dog would come and then he would salivate. And after some time, and eat the food, and then after some time, he just started to ring the bell and the dog would start salivating, right? What is the pleasure in the bell that you have to salivate? Because you have imagining, you're connecting the dots there, you're saying that I'm going to enjoy. Right? Now, why does it say, well, you might just say, well, the pleasure is there. Well, but that was the food that was coming, right? So he was connecting the dots. So there is some pleasure there, right? There is some pleasure there. So why are we saying that imagines pleasure? Now, if you have prepared a rasgulla, and go back to your student life, right? And think that your mom sent you a nice, or made you a nice rasgulla and gave you or gulab jamun for lunch in the school. And in the school, we found that we failed a particular subject. And mom is going to give it good. Now tell me, how will the rasgulla taste?
Don't taste good. It is pleasure. It might taste bitter also.
So this is what it means. It says that.
Oh.
Go ahead. Sukamala Mataji. Were you trying to say something?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is what it means when they say that the mind imagines pleasure. Then the mind neglects opportunities. The mind will neglect opportunities. And why does the mind neglect opportunities? It is because of false ego, which is the neighbor, just 2 doors away. Right next to the mind is the intelligence, and then false ego. Okay. So the false ego. So what happens is that I remember when I was growing up, there was this, our teacher used to bring a chart and there would be some pictures there. And from the picture, you had to figure out what the story was, right? So the first picture that the teacher showed was that it was a village kind of an arrangement. And in that village, there was a river flowing, okay? And on the river, there was a very narrow bridge. The main thing was it was a narrow bridge. The bridge was very narrow. And so narrow that, at a time, only one person could pass. So either you can come from this side to that side, or from this side, you can go to the other side, like that. So then on the river, they showed, there were two goats. They were coming from the opposite direction. And now what to do? Only one can go. Other has to surrender. So then the two started talking. And so one of them said, that I'm the older one. I should go. So other said, no, but I'm stronger than you. I can, So then they went back and forth. They started fighting with each other with the horns and all that stuff. And then within a minute, they were inside the river.
The river.
Right?
Both of them.
And then after some time, two more goats came. Same situation. The other one, the younger goat, and there was an older goat. So the younger goat again said, back off, you old one. I have the right of the way. I need to go. So he said that, what? This is a very narrow bridge, and let us not try to do pangani leneka. Let us not mess around with this. I'm going to sit down and you walk over me.
Mm.
And then, and then I'll walk over to the other side. And so this is what they did. So it's the mind. The mind can take you to such a level, that, even if there was an opportunity to live, it neglected, the first pair of goats neglected the opportunity to live by using a little bit of wisdom from their side.
Yeah.
Right? They gave up their lives. Why? False ego. I am older, I am stronger, I am this, I am that. Right? And in verse number 14, we just saw that you don't know anything. You don't do anything. It's just the modes of material nature that are doing it, right? Like that, right? So then M-I-N. Okay, can somebody tell me what does M stand for? What does D stand for?
Distracted.
M, what does M do? What does M stand for?
Mind.
Mind? No.
Magnify.
The M in the mind.
Magnifying.
Magnifies problems, right? Okay. And then what is the I in the mind?
Imagines
Imagines
desire.
Pleasure. Right?
Pleasure.
N is neglects
Neglect.
opportunities. Okay, neglects opportunity. And then the D is denies the reality. Denies the reality. Have you come across that situation? Denies the reality.
Yes.
Right? I remember when I was young, one of my teachers, when the pen teacher lost her husband. And so obviously there was a lot of grief in the house, and the kids were also there, and they were falling on the body of their father, and they were saying, get up, open your eyes. Right? He's not going to open the eyes. It's a reality. Like that, right? Similarly,
M for mind, you said, Mataji?
Sorry?
No. M for
the problems.
magnifying. Okay.
Magnifies. Right? And then so we deny the reality. Sometimes also another reality that we always deny is that we forget to look, or we not forget, we do not accept any flaws that we have in ourselves. Do we do that?
That's because of our false ego.
Exactly. False ego. Right? And we deny, we will not accept it. We will keep on giving explanations, long explanations. The dog ate my homework. We start that in the childhood. Till when we are older, we come up with a more refined version of the dog ate my homework. But we are still at it till we die, because the mind is so active over there, right? So, but then there are flaws. Yeah, go ahead, Sadhana.
So the denial of reality, is that like in the Sri Ishopanishad, the idea of a cheating propensity, where we understand
Correct.
it's real,
Yes.
but we feel
Correct. Very good connection. Yeah. 4 defects that we have. The cheating propensity. Why do we cheat and refuse to acknowledge things? Because I don't want to. I deny the reality that I don't know. I deny the reality that I'm incompetent. I deny the reality that I'm really servant of the Lord. I try hook and by crook, I try to do this and I try to do that. I try to enjoy things here and there, right? But this life is not meant for enjoyment. And there's a verse from in Divinity and Divine Service in Bhagavatam, the 2nd chapter of Bhagavatam, very powerful. And so there are very nice verses there. I'll bring up one verse there, which clearly says that, this life, my dear, is not meant for enjoyment. So let me bring, it's from the first SB 129, I think is what it is. Let me bring it up. The one that's in has come. Okay. Okay, let me share my screen here. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of beautiful verses. Can you see this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Dharmasya apavargasya nartho arthaya pakalpate narthasya dharme kantasya kamula bhaya hi sthitaḥ. So, all occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gains. Kamasya. Here. Dharmasya apavargasya nartho arthaya pakalpate narthasya dharme kantasya kamo labhaya hi sthitaḥ. Kamo, right? Desire for. They should never be performed for material gains. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. It's a very interesting verse, and it kind of also connects with the comment that Namazya Mataji has made on that what is this life for? And we talked about it imagines pleasure and things like that, and that this life is to give pleasure to Krishna, correct? Yes, you're correct, 100%. 100% over there, right? So now let's look at, kama seeds. People engage in sense activities, seemingly sense gratification activities. Then the question could be that, well, before I go there, I see a new name there, Surendra's iPad. So who's on Surendra's iPad? Would you like to tell us your name and where you are from? Or is it one of us who's just using a different laptop?
Hare Krishna Mataji, sorry, it's Subodhni. It's me.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mataji,
good.
good.
Okay.
Shraddha Mataji, later on, can you add her to the Bhakti Vriksha? Because
I added her, no? I did not add
because
Subodhni.
yesterday she asked me if there was class, and I figured maybe she doesn't, I don't know if she's on Bhakti Vriksha or not.
Okay, you can always check.
Not there, Mataji.
She's not there?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, I can add her, no problems at all. Yeah. Subodhni Mataji. Yeah, and you can always go and look at on the top on the right hand side, there's a description of the group itself, and you can always see there and see if Subodhni is not there. Or if somebody
Mataji, what is the number of the Dharmasya sloka?
129.
1 to 29. Is it
1 to 9.
129.
1 to 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll add you, Mataji. Show. I thought we did it, but I must have slipped my mind. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
No,
You.
Mataji, I'm not in the group, just by phone number ID.
Yeah. You are now. Now you are there very much.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Okay.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Right. So we're talking about pleasure, right? And we were talking about the fact that it's saying that you do not know. Then the question here is that, but didn't we read that Hriday Ritam Yat Pratyeta Na Pratyeta Atmani? You told in Srimad Bhagavatam that this material world is also one of the energies of the Lord. So what's the problem if I'm using it, right? If I'm enjoying it. So now here's the thing. that it will be the same material object. It could be the same desire that you have, but what distinguishes is for whom are you desiring this, right? For example, I might desire to have a big palatial home, right? House, big hall, 6 bedrooms, like 5 bathrooms or 7 bathrooms or whatever, big kitchen, whatever you might want. And imagine, right? I might want to have that because I want to enjoy, and my sister will come, she'll stay in one room, and then my kids will stay and have a bedroom each, and then one will be for the guest and one will so on and so forth. I can imagine all that, right? And then I'll throw a party, and then people will come and cook in the kitchen, and will be like that, all that kind of stuff, right? So that's one reason that we can have a desire to have a house. The second reason could be that I want to have a big house so that I can host Bhagavad-gita classes over there. Visiting devotees can stay in my house. I can host them for free. I can make prasadam in my big kitchen with all the latest gadgets, and so that I can distribute prasadam to people. That could be one reason that I might. So you see, the two reasons are very, very different. So when you are using things, you should always be using things for Krishna's happiness, right? So let me bring up a verse, and it's a very nice verse. And Prabhupada uses that word and repeats that verse many, many times. And this is from the 5th canto. He has used it in Bhagavad-gita all the time. And when I bring it to you, you'll be like, yeah, I already know that. So let's bring this up. Prapanche kataya bhuthya hari sambandhi vastunaha mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam falgu katyate. Everything, even that which is material, is connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, everything should be engaged in the service of the Lord, right? And if you do not engage that in the service of the Lord, and we are doing a vairagya, I'm renouncing all this, he's saying it's falgu vairagya. It's a useless renunciation that you're doing. Because, my dear, in the first case, the thing does not even belong to you. What are you renouncing? Right? So, falgu vairagyam katyate. So, the idea here is that in the material world, you use everything which is in the material world, you use it for the service of the Lord, number one, right? Number two, whatever has been provided to you, the big threes, and that was tad buddhyas tad atmanas, tad nishtha tad parayana, right? To use your big threes that have been given you it into the service of the Lord, right? And that verse, although it said that after you die, you go to a place from where you don't come back. Now, this verse is actually, it's slightly different, but today's verse is slightly different. Today's verse is along the lines of ihaiva tair karmana manasa gira nikla apya avisthatum jivan mukta sauchyate. What this verse is saying is that in this very life, if you have achieved sameness, and through your knowledge, vidya vinaya sampanne, through your knowledge, you are able to see the sameness in different entities, number one. Number two, so sameness in different entities, I can achieve to a certain extent. I can philosophically think and rake my intellect and say, okay, fine, yeah, Varshana, Sadhana, Sukumal, Vindyavali, Subhodhini, Namasya, they all seen. Right? I can understand, right? The problem comes is, when I am going through the ups and downs in my life, then how do I react? So that is what equanimity is. That not only are you, treating everybody in the same way to a certain extent, right? So I won't distinguish between Sadhana Mataji and Varshana Mataji in my interactions with them, right? Or I might even see the soul in an ant and a soul in a lion, like that. I might see the same similarity there, but that doesn't mean that I will just go and hug a lion because the lion is going to eat me, right? So preservation of the body is also one thing that you have to keep always in a mind, right? But we do see the sameness that we're seeing is that you're viewing everything as a spirit soul there, and the super soul is also there. And we are saying that means that we should be non-violent, right? Towards anybody and everybody, and not just towards the animal, because we can be violent towards, human beings also, right? And not necessarily take a gun and shoot them or, any of those bloody things, but through our tongue also.
Words.
Right? The words also we can do that. So idea is we will not do that. And when you're saying not to do that to the words, that is where the distinction comes into picture. How do I treat my seniors and how do I treat my juniors? How do I treat those who are richer than me? How do I treat those who are poorer than me? Right? Is there a difference in the way I behave with them? And that's not equanimity, right? So that's not viewing things in the same manner, right? So that's one. The second is that when things change around my life in a different way, how do I react to that, right? And that's where my favorite verse comes again. Tattenukampam susamikshamano bhunjanamevatmakritam vipakam hridvakavabhilidadantmaste jivetayo muktipade sadayabha. Again, this verse is also saying jivetayo muktipade sadayabha. That if a person, is equanimous in whether there is ups or there is a down in his life, and in both the circumstances, through his mind, through his words, and through his body, all that he is doing is he's glorifying the Lord. Right? Then mukti pade sadayabha, liberation has become his right. When things are your right, life is easy, right? Like you purchase a home, I have the owner's right to this home. Nobody can take it away from you. If they try to take it away from you, you go to the court of justice, and justice will hopefully be meted out to you soon, like that.
What is the number of that Tattenukampa shloka?
I'm going to ask the class that question.
I'm telling you. 10:14:8.
10:14:8.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so here what they're saying is he has become, this one is saying, this particular verse, Tattenukampam verse is saying that he has become eligible for, his liberation has become his birthright. Okay, now birthright can be taken away, right? For example, freedom of living in a free country can be taken away. Some other country can come and attack, and there your freedom is taken away, right? So this verse is only saying that you have become eligible to do that. But the ihaiva karmana manasagira, right? That verse and today's verse also, both the verses are actually telling you that even when you are alive, you are already liberated. So this verse is more powerful than the other verse which said tad buddhya tad atmanas tad nishtha tad parayana gacchanti apunar avritam. Gacchanti means you have to leave this body and you have to go somewhere. And they're saying from there you won't come back, which basically means you go to a spiritual planet and you won't come back. Right? But here what they're saying, this verse is saying that here itself, ihaiva, here itself, in this planet, wherever you are, you already liberated.
You're taking on all the sufferings of your past misdeeds and even still offering obeisances, because you're suffering all the misdeeds of your past. And
Correct. You're suffering from there, you've done that, you're equal to everybody, you have surrendered to the Lord, right? Because, and these two things come, this verse, tad buddhya tad atmanas tad nishtha tad parayana, right? So if I just take that, tad buddhyas tad atmanas, well, I can use my intelligence, I can use my mind, right? And I can use my faith. And these three things I can use and still find out the similarity between, microscopic things and the macro, or I can see there's a similarity there. I can figure out that human beings are all similar, dogs are all similar, zebras are all similar, right? But that is not the place where you stop at that kind of a sameness, right? Using your intellect to do that. What they're saying is, even after you have found the sameness, right, from the superficial level, that's a superficial sameness you're seeing. Well, zebra, I look at zebra, they all look black and white stripes. Oh yeah, they all look same, right? Like that. But what we are talking about, we are saying, look inside them and find the sameness over there. Okay. Then after you find the sameness, you just don't find the sameness of the soul. Also find that the sameness is there, that even if it's a dog, there's somebody very powerful accompanying the dog. Who's that the powerful person who accompanies the dog everywhere?
Master.
Look inside, Vindhyavali Mataji. Look inside the dog. Paramatma. Yeah, we are looking inside, right?
Paramatma.
So then we see Paramatma is there in everybody's body. So we have to see that. And after we see the Paramatma, then what? That is not sufficient. You have to be...
We treat
What will you do? After you see a soul, and you see a dog, and you see a soul inside the dog, and you see the Paramatma in the dog. Is that good enough? You're out for a walk, and you meet 20 dogs, and you see 20 squirrels, and 25 birds, and they all show you that there is a super soul and there's a soul. That's fine. You come back and...
You treat your dog with...
Okay, you treat your dog, and you treat your neighbor's dog. Okay, you love thy neighbor as thyself, and love your neighbor's dog also.
I know, but you
right?
see the Paramatma in that. You treat the dog very, especially not that other's dog also. You see Paramatma everywhere also. You have to be treating that soul.
Equanimity.
Equanimity.
Equanimity. No, equanimity was talking about that. You know, when the dog is licking your leg, or when the dog is biting your leg, you will be feeling the same thing. That is equanimity, right? And then treating your dog and a neighbor's dog and the dog and donkey all the same is sameness, right? And you're seeing, that Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hasri Samadarshina. The Samadarshina is seeing them same,
yes.
right?
Even if we see
but
the
I'm just
dog,
saying, I'm saying after that, what? After you see the super soul and after you see the soul inside, what do you do after that? That's the question.
You treat them equal, is that right? That's what it says. You see the Paramatma in that. And every dog has that soul.
Let's go back to the verse. It says tad buddhyas tad atmanas tad nishtha. And what is that after that? I want you to go back and open that verse on your books and tell me what is that. What is that parayana? What does parayana translate?
Who have taken shelter of the Lord.
Correct, right? So this is the most important thing. That's, just intellectually raking the brains and coming to a conclusion that there is sameness, there is, a soul everywhere and there is a super soul everywhere. Well, but you have to surrender to the super soul.
Mm.
You see, that is what we have to do. And if you have done that in your life, you have achieved equanimity in your life, then you are liberated already. Right? This is a very important thing to keep in mind in this particular verse. Right? So let's go back and look at the verse again a little bit more. And 519 coming up on your screens here. Then it says, those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. Right? Otherwise, in that previous verse, what it was talking about, it was Gachanti apunar avritam. When you're gone, at the time of that, you will know that, okay, fine, I'm not coming back. I have a golden plane has come for me and I see the Yamdutas. Okay, now I know I'm not coming back. Yeah, I see the Vishnudutas and now I know I'm not coming back, right? As soon as you see the Yamdutas, oh boy.
I was like, Yamdutas, I said, of course.
Yamduta means, that's bad, right? So this is at that time, right? But here they're saying that at this point in time itself, when the minds are established, they have already conquered and here sarga is used as sarga means creation, right? Sarga means creation, and then the sarga is creation. But here they're using birth and death. And I'm going to bring a nice verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada gives a very nice explanation there. So let's bring it up. It's from the 5th canto, one of my favorite cantos. And I've mentioned that a few times. I like the sound of this verse. And let me know if you can see this. Nunam pramattaha kurute vikarma yat indriya pritaya aprinoti nasadu manye yatatmanoyam asannapi kleshata ashadehaha. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded, like how punishment is awarded. He has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. What do you think about this?
Sense gratification, the aim of life is eternity.
Actually, Arjuna asks Krishna in the 8th chapter, Kim tadbhram, kim adhyatmam, kim karma purushottama. So he's asking, Kim tadbhram, what is Brahman? Right? Adhyatma, what is the self? And then what is karma? So I was expecting that Krishna will say, what goes around comes around. Something like that, right? But he says that which leads to the development of a material body is karma. That which leads to the development of a material body, and it could be a future material body that is in the process of being developed for you, right there, ready to be baked for the soul to go into, right? That is karma. And we talked about that when we do karma, vikarma, akarma, right? Akarma is that you're doing things, but that will not lead to the development of a material body. And so here, we are talking about that, okay, there will not be any sarga. There will not be any creation of the material body. Otherwise, as you go after the sense pleasure, you think. And we said that the mind imagines pleasure. The pleasure is not there. Imagines I'm going to get pleasure out of it. And after that, it's like, let me try to get something better. Now we are implicating ourselves. We are really getting entangled into it. Right? So that's why kamasya nindriya priti. It says, do not involve in that. And then it also said that especially those who are engaged in devotional service, they should not be engaged. They should not be engaged in sense gratification. So sense gratification becomes difficult and a deterrent to devotional service. Right? You eat too much, and then can't get up in the morning. Like that, right? So these things have got their own effect on us. Then if we go to a verse again, then there was, it said that 519, it said those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. Yes, because I don't do any sense gratification. I see everything is the same, good and bad is the same, and nice. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. They are flawless like Brahman. What is a flaw? What does flaw mean?
A defect.
Defect.
Right? So then what is a defect?
We fall down.
No, but what is our defect?
Oh.
They are saying you're saying they become flawless like the Brahman. This means at some point we have flaws, right?
Yeah. Sense gratification is our defect, isn't it?
Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mataji.
Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. See, so we're full of defects, right? And then what does mind do?
Go here and there.
D, it denies.
Yeah.
It denies that there are any defects, right? Well, in this particular verse, the defect, although we know we are full of defects, the defect that we are talking over here is the defect of raga and dvesha.
Desha. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
The raga means I like something.
Desha
I
means
see.
hey.
Dvesha is I don't like
Hate.
medicine. Like that.
Hatred.
And because of this, and why is this raga and dvesha? Why is this raga and dvesha happening? Because deep-seated, there is that desire to enjoy. The desire to enjoy is there, very deep-rooted in us. And that is why we want to enjoy, and we get nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. Then we'll do sinful activities just to satisfy our senses. Right? And the senses, sharira, avidya jal. Avidya. Ignorance. It's a network. It's ignorance. And it's a network of senses. Isn't it? Your whole body is covered with the sense organ, right? The skin. Completely, right? And then the jnanendriyas and the karmendriyas, they work in conjunction.
Yeah.
And you won't even know, yeah. The eyes, the legs will follow the eyes without we are even knowing it. The legs follow the eyes. Try walking with your eyes closed. You will see you can't walk straight. But you open your eyes, then you start following it. Yeah. So they work in a very, nice cooperative manner, but might not be good if the ultimate and the end result is not the same. So here the flaw in ourselves is because we do rag and dvesha. Varshana Mataji, are you raising a hand or? Okay. Yeah.
Mother, I have a question, Mother. I'm getting confused, Mother. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Brahman is a Brahma Jyoti, that is the effulgence of the Lord. We have to go beyond that Brahma Jyoti and then see God. Then I could not understand. They are flawless like Brahman. Brahman has
very
no
good
flaw.
question. Yes, very, very good question. And this gets explained by Anafa Acharyas. That the word Brahman can mean anything. It can even mean the soul. That's Sanskrit language. It can even mean the Brahma Jyoti. It also means Krishna. So here, the Brahman means Krishna. But very nice. Very nice question.
The whole confusion is over.
Yeah, that's why we have acharyas who explain. So Prabhupada here means that it is the Lord. And then, of course, we are entered into the Brahman. To go to the spiritual sky, to finally go to Vaikuntha, you will meet the Brahman on the way. Right? But because Brahman is not our goal, we won't stop there.
Yes.
Right? Like if you're going from Pune to Bombay, you might see some city in between, Nasik. I don't know. My geography is not good. But you don't just like, oh, Nasik, I'm going to stop here. No, I'm going to Bombay. I'm not going to get off this train. My destination, Bombay.
Yeah.
Like that. So, okay. So that is, they're saying that they're Brahman. And what they're saying is that they're already situated in Brahman. This means that you're already transcendentalized. Your body is already a transcendental body. And that is why when the sannyasis give up their bodies, right? We don't burn their bodies. Because burning of the body is that, you're giving things back to the material world, right? Whatever came, you're giving it back. But here, it's like, no, it's a transcendental thing. They put the body in the lotus position, seated in the lotus position, and then they put it there.
But Mataji, that body will still, of course, the body is not burned.
Yes.
But it will still eaten up by the insects and whole thing will go. Still, it will meet the all the 5 tattvas.
It will meet the 5 tattvas. Yes, it will. And then also one of the reasons that we burn the body, and I think the Vedic method of disposing the body is the best, because the soul is attached to the body. I'm not talking about sannyasi soul and all that kind of stuff. But those who are like us, or like me at least, who are attached to the body, then when they leave the body, the soul tends to linger around.
Yes.
And sometimes even tries to get back into the body. Right? So it's like, okay, get rid of the body really quick. So that's why you see that when in the Vedic culture, the moment the body dies, they don't keep it for a very long time.
No.
They'll try to cremate it as soon as possible, right? Same day, and not, long linger, because the soul will linger otherwise. So a soul attached to the body will linger, right? But what's there for the sannyasi? He's not attached, right? He's already already liberated. So what's there? Let the body be there. They are not coming back like that. So very, very powerful, very powerful verse here, right? So sometimes, again, playing on the words on the Brahman, there's a very famous thing. Aham brahmasmi. Aham brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I'm spiritual. Yes, we are spiritual. What next? Oh, there's somebody more spiritual than I am. Oh, that's Krishna. What next? Third question. What is my relationship with Krishna? What is my relationship with Krishna? I am a servant of Krishna.
Servant of Krishna.
That has to be understood. Right? To say that, okay, my Krishna is my buddy, I'm very friendly. I talk to Krishna every day. All that is fine. Talk to him. But remember, you are his servant. That's how we are made like that, right? So, just going into the verse to think, I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover in this. Yeah. So the key thing, which was, parayanaha, that is very, very important. And then equanimity, that's very important. And so we hear that I told you the story of Chitraketu, right? Chitraketu was a king and his son dies, Harshashoka dies, right? Was he equanimous? Not at all. He didn't behave like a king. He fell down, cried. He fainted, he cried. Like imagine king fainting, right? He's not equanimous. And then Angira Rishi and Narad Muni, they come and they give him gyan. And then actually Narad Muni gives him a mantra to chant. And then he actually focuses on that very, very, very powerfully. And he sees Sankarshan, Nityananda. He sees, right? And then he gets transported to the planet of Vidyadharas, where he can pursue devotional service a little bit more. And then one day he is in his aeroplane and flying over Kailash, and he sees Shiva and Parvati sitting there, and Shiva is giving a lecture to a lot of the Ganas, and Parvati is sitting on his laptop. So he finds that very funny, and he laughs. And so Parvati gets angry and he curses. She curses him that, you're going to get a body of a demon. And then he comes as a demon. But before that, what's the name of that demon? What does Chitraketu come back as? Very famous. Vritasura. Yes, correct. Vritasura. So he comes back as Vritasura. And but before that, when she curses, when Parvati curses Chitraketu, then Chitraketu could have had the powers, right? He was liberated. He had the powers not to accept that curse. But then he quietly accepted the curse. And Parvati was very bewildered. Parvati gets very, very bewildered at, that how come, Then Shivji just explains that to her. And he says, Narayana parasarve, na kutaschina bhivyati, swarga apavarga narkeshu apitulyata darshinaha. So in the 6th canto, 17th chapter and verse number 28, he says that Narayana parasarve, na kutaschina bhivyati. So Narayana parasarve. The one who is surrendered to Narayan and who thinks Narayan is all, God is all in all. Na kutaschina bhivyati. Bhivyati means afraid. He's not afraid of anything. Swarga apavarga narkeshu. Right? So he says whether it's Swarg or Narag or any of these creations, it takes that to be completely nargas. Api tulyar pradarshina, sees that in the same light. Why? Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmani kavi hastini. Sunichava, he's got the real knowledge now and he's able to do that. So sameness. They don't care. Okay. So I'll stop here and I'll open up for any questions, comments, or anything that you are taking from this class.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
With regards to equanimity and that level where you gave the example of a dog where you get bit or licked, it feels like the bar is really high, and this is kind of achievement maybe at the sannyas state, but for grihasthas, like I'm not sure, like is that a how do we look at that? Is that a valid goal, or is it just a high goal that we aim for, right?
It is a valid goal, and grihasthas can achieve it. So there are various ways in which one can go back to Godhead, right? One method of going back to Godhead is through gradually going up the varnashram, up the varnas. That is, I'm a Shudra, I do my Shudra things very nicely, and then I'm born as a Vaishya, I do my Vaishya stuff very nicely, then I become a Kshatriya, I do my Kshatriya stuff very nicely, and then I become a Brahmana, I do everything, and I go out, right? Like that, Vaishnava, and I go out, right? Another way of going back to Godhead is wherever sthane sthita, wherever you are, from that stage, it's a launching pad. Bhakti is a launching pad. So even if you are in Grihasthashram, you can be launched and you can go back to Godhead. Ajamil is a case of a Grihastha who was like the worst of the Grihasthas, right? Like that. So you can go, it's not a big goal it's not a unachievable goal. That's what I'm saying. It might seem unachievable in the beginning to us. Also wanted to mention this thing is that when I say the licking of a dog and the biting of the dog, we are equanimous in that case. What does that mean? Does it mean that the dog licked me and I didn't do anything? Washed it off with water, and then the dog bit me, and then also I wash it off like with water? No, because the dog has bitten you, you have to go and get the rabies injection. What I'm saying is the reaction from inside, like, oh, what has happened? Oh, this is wrong. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, I'm suffering. No.
So that was actually my question was at that level. I get the Ajmila story. Okay. So that my question is more at that level, because like most people are still in their physical body and there's pain and suffering. So they can't not help feeling the pain. Mm-hmm. And maybe they'll react nicely inside. I mean, not cry and not really lament or anything, that I understand. But then it inside, not externally, but inside, there's going to be pain. And then the pain will have to, anytime anybody gets pain, our mind will work and our mind will look at it and our mind will attach to it, right? And I'm wondering if at that very nuanced level, if that is what we're talking about, like, do we still not attach with the pain or do we attach to the pain? That's more the finesse of the question here. Right?
Yes, and you will be attached to the pain. And Vaisheshika tells a very nice story. You remember that there was a senior devotee and there was a young neophyte devotee. And once the senior devotee fell sick, he had flu or something like that. And he was, he groaned from pain. Like, whatever, he groaned. And this neophyte said, Prabhu, you are not this body. So then the senior Prabhu said, you're not this body either. So you're not feeling my pain, like that, right? What these things mean when we're talking about equanimity is the reaction to that. Like I said earlier, why is Krishna doing this to me? Versus the dog bit me today, there must be something in Krishna's plan. I'm still going to do everything. I am having this pain, and fine. It was my fate. It happened. I won't be overly agitated by that. It happened. Even if I have to go to the city and talk about putting dogs on leash and things like that, I will do it. It's okay to do it, right? But what is happening inside my head, and like that's what I was saying in the class today also. We have to look inside. we'll go there. I'm doing my best. Karmanevadhikaraste na phaleshu kadachana. I'll do my best. And that's about it. After some time, I have to parayana. Rely on Krishna. Whether my petition will be met, whether they will do something about it, how agitated am I while I'm going about my things, right? Because agitation is not good. Krodha is not good for devotional service.
So when you say rely on Krishna, so we can be in a situation where, let's say, you did get bit by a dog, and we know that, practically speaking, there's no use crying or making a big deal out of it, because you're going to have to get treated. It's done. You can't do anything to the dog. That's whatever the law is or whatever happened, right? So but when that pain is coming, and then you feel inside, you feel agitated, right? And you feel, and you're thinking, okay, I'll give this over to Krishna and say, please help me. So that is an okay thing to do. It's not
Absolutely.
that you're not saying like totally disregard it.
Yes.
Because even in the pain and suffering we have as grashtas, we look for Krishna. So we're continuously doing that. It's not that people really see it as a licking of a dog. Like literally it's not. Because it is going to be like when the dog licks us, we don't mind not even go to Krishna. We just say, great. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So,
yes.
Okay,
yes.
I think I understand. There's more nuance. Sorry to bring it down.
No. Thank you for asking that question. It's the approach with which you are going about it, right? Internally, what is happening to me? Internally, I'm a surrendered soul. Prabhupada was gored the very next day after he took sannyas. He was gored by a bull.
Oh.
Remember, the bull tossed him in the air and he fell down with his horns.
Oh.
And then Prabhupada just said that, oh my Lord, I'm such a fallen soul. That this is happening to me. So, and that's why we said, Narayana Parayanaha, Na Kutaschina Bhivyati. Parayana, that Parayana is very important, because it is a Parayana, the surrender to Krishna, that removes the pain. The big agitation goes away from there.
Mm-hmm.
The big agitation, it's not, the pain will be there, but how you handle it. Right? Miseries will come, but then suffering is in our hands. Varshana Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, I was just thinking during this discussion that the more we read the Shastras, listen to the lectures and understand it, the more we have the patience, the mind also gets trained to deal with the situations the way they should actually, according to Shastra. So it helps us a lot to have determination and total faith, the total Shraddha in the Shastras, which will enable us and train our mind to deal with any kind of situation, I feel.
Right. The Shastra actually turns our approach in some cases to a 180-degree turn, completely 180-degree turn. For example, if you are behind a car, right? If you're behind a car and there's a sudden thing, you're driving behind a car and suddenly you jam your brake and your car goes and touches the trunk of the other car, right? And there are some damages. You see that there are some damages in the car, right? And then, of course, to get out, you talk to the person, and then you start, the conversations that we have when you hit somebody. And the other person says, this dent was, already, my car already had that dent. Because sometimes your car can go and touch like that, right? So when we are so that is one situation, right? That can happen. The second situation is the man says, no, this was a brand new car, you did it. So our approach changes drastically from, somebody else did it and this is happening because of somebody else, to realizing that I am the one who did it. So when the sufferings come, when I understand that I am the one who is responsible for my sufferings, my reaction to the suffering will be very different. Right? And versus when, I have to blame the whole world. Right? So people do that, isn't it? They go and commit murders and then they come and say, my mother did not love me enough. Right? How much can you blame others?
Yeah.
You have to take ownership for and that is what the Gyan Chakshu, that's what this Shastra opens your eyes.
Really?
There was this movie that had come a long time ago, almost I think 50 years ago. Yehi Hai Zindagi. It was a very nice movie. It had so there was this man who wanted to be rich. He never believed in God. And he used to have a very friendly way of, talking about God. I mean, he didn't hate him either, but he was like, I don't believe. I believe in the power of myself and I'll do this, I'll do that. He was very poor. And through his powers of, working very hard, he kept on getting, better and better and better. And God used to come and talk to him also in between, in this movie, right? Like that. And then he falls sick, as stress and all that kind of stuff. And then he's having all these medicines by his side, and then God comes to meet him again, and he's asked, like, why am I going through all this? So then God says, so what? Like, no, why am I so sick? So I have to eat all these medicines. So then God says, Krishna comes, actually it's Krishna there. Then Krishna says, which medicines? So then he picks up one medicine, says, so this medicine, he says, okay, read. What is this medicine? He says, terramycin. He says, Terra? He says, Terra? What? Terra what? And then he says, my sin.
Sin.
Oh, my sin.
My sin.
Oh.
And it goes on, and so many medicines, they're all my sin, my sin, my sin. So my sin, this, my sin, that, my sin. So this is what it is. It is your sin that is causing you all this. The moment you understand that.
But one thing, Mataji, this my sin acts so fast also. Any my sin.
Both of them, yeah.
Well,
yeah, at least the terramycin might act very fast, but the mycin, the other things can stay for a very long time. It can stay for a very long time, and it's difficult to understand and sometimes to correlate. That is why somebody was asking me this question today, that, I'm so good, and why is this happening to me today? And it's something coming from previous births. And there was this nice story that Vashana Mataji had told, that when Dhritarashtra asked that why was I born blind and why did 100 of my sons get killed, right? He said, 50 births ago, you did something like that. So why was I not, you pierced the eyes of, you killed some baby birdlings and then 100 of them, and then you pierced their eyes,
That's what I always feel with my granddaughter also, Mataji.
Yeah.
So we don't know what happened before previous births. So otherwise, this is a simple thing. It should not have happened for her. But those things keep on asking. I feel I keep on thinking that. After reading this Bhagavad,
you don't have to ask it. After reading all the Shastras, this is what it is.
That's what I'm saying.
And in my previous class, I had talked about this thing that, when we talk about these chain reactions coming, especially as human beings, because we have the intellect to make judgments as against dogs, etc. It's just a surrender. Now, this should be an eye-opener for all of us. When a calamity comes in our head and we think about...
Should have been more.
Yeah.
When you think, more, but
that is fine. Yeah. It should have been more is a nice way. It's a grateful way to think that Krishna has, reduced the sentence for me, is made it more. But another eye-opening thing for us should be, I don't know what more is going to come.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because this body is created for your prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is the karma from your big class of karma. It's just a little small thing that they will take. And you get a body to suffer or enjoy that karma, right?
Yeah, after reading Bhagavad-gita, I'm just surrendering like that.
You have to surrender. There's no other way. No other way.
See, I'm here now.
Yeah.
It's very
and then about the mind being agitated, like, as Sadhana Mataji said, that, for whatever your granddaughter is going through, right? The accident and all, then the mind will be agitated. It will be. Grandmother's mind will be agitated, right? And that is why a mantra, the word mantra that we say, mantra, it delivers your mind. Where does it deliver? Like the delivery guy who brings the pizza and delivers the pizza to you. the mantras, they deliver our mind to the transcendental plane and take you there. So that becomes a little easier for us to handle whatever the material is presenting to us. Like that.
This Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gita is helping me a lot.
Yes.
See, sometimes I feel little depressed and can't see like that.
It's not,
but
it's
still
natural.
I get these answers, you know. That is like you said, prarabdha karma. Something karma was there. Past deeds, I don't know what she did, what happened, what I did to see like that. So all these things I keep on thinking. So I had to surrender to Krishna. Nothing else.
You just now mentioned mantra. Mantra delivers the mind. You used some word, I missed it.
Mantra delivers the mind, and I was saying that where does it deliver you to, right? It takes you to the transcendental
Yes.
realm. Yeah.
Delivers to you? What
To
is that
the
you said? Huh?
transcendental route.
Shraddha Mataji, I was just going to say, like, the reason why this question came up was because I have a friend who's a devotee of Shivaram Swami, and he was in hospital a few days back with spinal surgery, right? And then we saw, she sent pictures, and you saw him, like, as he came out, he was in a lot of pain, but he went back to writing because he's a book writer, right? And so that was why I was thinking, because, you know, like, so I think I was wondering, like, how much pain he would have been in to be able to do that. But I think what I learned was that by focusing on Krishna and what he likes to do, his service, his writing and whatever, he was managing his pain because he was now detracting from whatever that was happening for him, right? And he was basically putting his mind and his soul into that space. So is that a good way to look at it? Yeah,
that's a good way to get it. Exactly. Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He gives classes from his bed. The hospital bed, I mean.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Mataji, same
Right?
thing.
And what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is that it's not happening to you, Sadhana Mataji.
Yes,
Try to iron, 2 saris at home and measure the pain, and then iron 2 Srila Prabhupada dhotis that you do in the temple and measure the joy. It's the same thing. Why is it different? Because they are on different planes. One is a material activity, other is a transcendental activity.
Not the sari I'm doing for my initiation, so that would be all right.
Yes, and when is your initiation? What date is it? 17th?
18th of
July.
July, beginning of Purushottam.
There we go. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very auspicious. Very auspicious.
Mataji, she works in the hospital by a voluntary job with the wheelchair. She goes and works and shows the patients where to go and all. And then some of the students, she takes online classes. And she's keeping her mind in that. Not sitting just.
You should just encourage her, more than her, those around her are agitated. She's not feeling it. We might just come out over concerned. We might just make her, you should encourage her to continue. Yeah. So see, although you are, this happened, that happened, nothing has happened from her perspective. She's still doing whatever she's supposed to do, right?
She's doing
compared to last year when she was in the wheelchair and used to feel it a little difficult. Now she has become expert at that she's able to go and Any other questions? We are over our time. Varshana, were you asking something?
What did Sadhana Mataji say about the dhoti, that sari?
She was saying that, she was talking about that sari that she's going to iron for her initiation ceremony.
Oh, when is that?
18th of July.
18th of July?
Yeah, Varshana Mataji, it's first day of Purushottam Mass.
Okay. Very nice, Mataji.
Thank you.
Who is the guru? She said?
It's Kalakanta Prabhu in Florida.
Yeah. That's good. Good luck, Mataji.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Please pray for me.
We are all praying definitely for Sadhana Mataji. Looking forward to the new name. Yeah.
Even initiation, you are here and you have lots of questions here. Very good knowledge. So after initiation, you'll be more.
All right. Okay, so I'll take a leave now. And we'll meet again.
That is the only thing
tomorrow
I feel.
morning. Yeah.
That is the thing I feel.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
No leave
Great
available,
You're
Mataji.
class,
welcome.
as always.
Thank you, Shraddha Mataji. Wonderful class, always.
Thank you, Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Vanchikalpatrubhyascha,
Parubhyascha
Kripasindhubhyev cha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Gaur Premanande.